It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 82. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world. Hope everything's been coming up roses for you out there this week. And just thank you for joining me again for another episode. Tell you about all this video game stuff going on. So let's get down to some early business. If you'd like to help me out more than just listening, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, Patreon, and more. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok, twitch.tv/DepLewisShow. That's a great place to follow. And then patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow and gain access to exclusive content such as the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. And I'll tell you more about this at the end of the podcast. So you want to get all this wonderful video game information into your brain, hopefully some entertainment along the way. And then I'm going to tell you about the Patreon at the end. So, I mean, what a great deal. That's all I got to say. So the show today is going to be a normal, ordinary show. That doesn't mean it's not going to be great, but we're going to have our three sections. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing, what's been going on in my video game rotation, what I'm thinking, and give you an update there. And then the second section of the show is all about the video games. So that's the mid-section. We're going to talk about video game news, video game happenings, video game releases. And for today, I want to tell you about two releases. That'll be pretty quick. And then we're going to get into the most recent Nintendo Direct that took place on June 18th, 2024. So the mid-section of the show will be very Nintendo Direct heavy. And I'll tell you about all the cool things from that and my overall thoughts. And it's going to be very exciting. And then the final section of the show is the miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So today we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports as we normally do in that section. Mainly tell you what's going on with the greatest team in the galaxy, the Atlanta Braves. So that's the plan for today. Now you know it. And just thank you for showing up. And let's get into it. I think we're just ready to start talking about these video games here on episode 82. So what video games have I been playing? The main game I've been playing has been Stardew Valley. So I've been talking about this for a few shows now. And I am really fully into Stardew Valley. I think I'm farther than I've ever been in Stardew Valley. I'm around 30 to 35 hours in my farming adventure. So it's been really, really fun. I've made it through, I wrote earlier in the week, I made it through summer and on to fall. But right now, I'm a few days away from summer of season 2. So a little bit of, I can't really spoil too much of Stardew Valley. I need to quit worrying about that. But in Stardew Valley, you're living out 4 seasons. There's 28 days in each season. Spring, you can only grow a certain amount of crops. And then summer and fall have a good amount of crossover crops that you can grow. So there's some items that you can plant in the summer that will still grow in the fall. But at the end of the season, all your crops are going to die. So you need to prepare for that. The crops will tell you, hey, this one's going to take 4 days to fully form. This one's going to take 8 days. This one's going to take 10. There's a lot of little stipulations like that. So you really got to watch the calendar out there. But there's 28 days per season. Something I learned in that first year. And I'm trying to think, my first year was pretty much just getting my farm built. I have a pretty nice fenced off area to grow right now for this upcoming spring. So I took the winter months to basically prepare my farm for the next season. So I did a lot of maintenance to the farm, and I did a lot of, fence building and trying to plot out my areas and things like that. So when spring came along, I was ready to roll, and that worked out pretty successfully. And then once spring came along, I really got into wanting to upgrade my axe and my pickaxe. So that's kind of where all my money went to that I was earning in the spring. So I kind of expected to come into the spring really, really hot, making the gold. And I ended up having to spend my gold on iron bars or iron cores to turn into iron bars, iron ore to turn into iron bars, to turn into upgraded axe and pickaxe. But I was able to upgrade to the steel pickaxe and axe during the second spring year, and I'm now able to, and I have destroyed all the stuff on my farm, all the stumps and all the giant rocks and boulders. So they're all gone. My farm is completely able to be designed by myself. So that is a very good feeling. And that was something I wanted to work towards. And I've completed that. But I was down to $1 in the spring this year. So I was down to $1, but I had my upgraded equipment and I have some seeds in the tuck and I'm ready to go. So right now I'm at the waiting period before the end of spring of season 2. So I'm going to get into the summer and in the fall, and I already have some seeds ready to go to grow during those months. So I prepared last season or last year and bought some overflow seeds. So I'm ready to go right away. So I don't have to worry about not having much cash. But I think I'm back over $1. I think I made maybe 5 or 7 grand, and I'll have that able to spend on some crops or whatever. But I think that's the main thing. My objective now is to just start making money. So I have all the things I really need on my farm for the moment. I have a lot of sprinklers. I guess I can maybe get some more sprinklers, but I have maybe half of my watering automated, which is pretty good, and maybe that is something to work towards. But I just really need to make some money, I think, right now. I want to stack up some money maybe for the next 2 seasons, and then in the winter maybe I'll start doing some more upgrades. That'll kind of be my plan, because that worked out pretty naturally and pretty good in the first season going through Stardew Valley. So this game has been super fun. I'm playing on the Switch, I'm playing on the TV, I'm playing handheld. The OLED Switch is just really, really great. It's such a great reminder of how nice that screen is. And what else do I want to say about Stardew Valley? I'm loving this game. This is I've had a handful of starts of this game throughout the years on different platforms, but this is definitely the one I've made the most progress in, and I've learned the most about and had the most fun with is the other thing. So it's been really, really fun. Stardew Valley has been an A+ video game for an older title for the year of 2024. So let's see. I want to see if I have any notes that I need to tell you about. No, that's it. Playing Stardew Valley. I'm going to continue doing that. I've been sitting on the porch and playing that, so that's been nice. And it's been very, very hot during the day, so sitting out there, early or later at night has been nice, and playing some Stardew Valley. The music in that game is amazing. I've listened to that soundtrack for years, so there's not enough good things to say about Stardew Valley. So please go check that game out. It's very inexpensive, and it's on multiple platforms, and it's very fun. So that's been taking up the majority of my video gaming time during the last week. I was doing some traveling around, so I didn't really play too many video games, just sitting in my place. But I did get some gaming in, so played some Stardew Valley, and then earlier in the week I was making some progress in Gears of War 4. So I just wanted to keep that on the docket here to keep it in my mind and your mind out there that's what's going on with me. I'm trying to complete Gears of War 4 on the Xbox, and I am almost up to the point of content I haven't seen before. So I played some Gears of War 4 when it first came out, kind of fell off on it like I do a lot of games nowadays. But I am rolling back around. I'm spinning the block on Gears of War 4, and I am almost to the new content, so that's been pretty fun. I'm at the area where you have to start closing up those holes, throwing the frags in there so the enemies quit popping out, and then fighting those guys that you have to shoot their belly a whole lot for them to explode. Those guys are super annoying. I remember being grumped about those in the first time playing, and I'm back to that section. I think there's a huge boss that kind of correlates to that too, so not going to be fun, but I've been having fun with Gears of War 4. And it's been really fun, and I have plans to go to Gears of War 5 next. And so we're going to get into the video game plans here for a second before we close out this first section. So those have been the 2 games I've been playing. I really didn't play too much. I was on the go some, so I played Stardew Valley, and that was really about it. Besides Gears of War 4 early in the week, I made minimal progress. But for my gaming plans overall, just to keep you up to date on that, it is the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, so I've been trying to have a focus on playing some RPGs to explore those and see what I like and dislike about them. And my current game in that rotation has been Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I've been off of that for a couple weeks. I'm pretty close to the end of this game. I think I'm on the final 2 chapters, so I need to make a focus to play this, and I probably will. So this has just been one of the longer games, and I'm just trying something out new. I'm trying to explore these RPGs. I'm not the greatest person at finishing games, and RPGs are generally pretty long, so a little bit tougher of a task for myself, but nothing that I can't overcome, nothing that's too difficult. And Final Fantasy VII Remake has been a really excellent game, and I already have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth ready to go once I finish, and that is the plan there. So I just want to keep you up to date on that. That's part of the year of the RPG. And then the other current leg of the year of the RPG right now is Super Mario RPG into Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door Remake. And like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Super Mario RPG, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I think I'm 2 stars away from the end of the game, so I'm pretty close. And then I already own Paper Mario Thousand Year Door to go into after I finish. So those are some of my year of the RPG plans. I'm trying to think if there's any other RPGs that I really want to put on this list. I've been floating out some other video game thoughts of like making a list of what I want to play and keep up with, but these are the ones that are definitely on the list, along with Gears of War 4 into Gears of War 5, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. So I think those are the 3. Gears of War 4 doesn't go into the year of the RPG, but I think those are my 3 games that I'm trying to complete right now. I'm scouring my systems, yeah. And we're going to talk about maybe adding some to the list, and maybe I'll get into that in the midsection, and then maybe I'll do something more formally next week with a a fully fleshed out list of games I'm trying to complete. You know, I've said this before, making a list doesn't always help me, but it has helped me as well. So I think this is a good opportunity to try that again. So that's the plan. So that has been what I've been playing, keeping you up to date on my video gaming. I'm always playing something for the most part to varying degrees. So it's fun to come here and report what I'm playing and tell you about what's going on and what I like. So that's what I've been playing, Stardew Valley, Gears of War 4, and I gave you some updates on the year of the RPG and just my general thoughts on my gaming and choices going forward. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show, Dep Lewis Show, episode 82, and we're going to get into the midsection of the show after this break. And the midsection is going to be all about the video game news of the world, all the video game happenings, releases, information you want to know, rumors, speculation, sales numbers, all that kind of thing. But for today, in the midsection, I'm going to tell you about 2 releases. One is out right now that I've been telling you about for the last few weeks, but I just want to remind you. Another one has got a release date announcement. I'm going to tell you about that. And then we're going to get into the Nintendo Direct that took place on June 18, 2024. So that is the main thing I'm going to tell you about in the midsection of the show. And if I had to guess, that would be the main thing you want to hear about this week, because that was the most exciting video game news of the week. Some of the most exciting, Nintendo Directs are some of the most exciting video game times of the year for information. So, you don't want to miss it. And hopefully I can tell you about some cool games along the way. So listen to this music and come back for the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 82 after this. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 82. This is the midsection where I tell you about all the video game happenings in the world. So let's get into it. I'm going to tell you about 2 quick things, and then we're going to get into the most recent Nintendo Direct, which is the reason I'm here and that you're here most likely today. So I just have a few things I want to tell you about first. So just want to tell you a reminder that Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion is out right now. I've been telling you about this for the last few weeks because this has been a pretty giant release that people have been excited for. And I'm an Elden Ring fan. I'm just not very good at it and haven't put in the time to try to be good at it. So it's just kind of a tough game for me. But this Shadow of the Erdtree expansion released on June 21st, 2024 for $39.99 US. And this is officially out. So you can play this. It's been out for 2 days. It's an expansion featuring an all-new story set in the Land of Shadow, imbued with mystery, perilous dungeons, new enemies, and items. So the things I've been seeing, I've watched some content on this, and you need to be at a certain point. It's recommended that you're at a certain point in the game to play this, like it's recommended in. So please go look that up if you're going to decide to play this. But the other things I've heard that is this is very hard. So I think with a late game expansion for most From Software games, that is the whole point, is to be extra hard. These are like the secret or the mystery levels in a Mario game or Mario side scroller or something like that. They are supposed to be difficult, and I think that is the general consensus on this. I think I've heard there's some technical problems going on, but I haven't really heard anybody I listen to talk about that. I've just kind of seen some articles or mentions about that, but I have watched some people play it, and it definitely has looked hard, but all the Elden Ring stuff looks so cool. And I think it's great they're adding a whole bunch of new content to this world. You're at a whole new landmass. You're in an alternate universe kind of thing, I believe it is. And there's just different stuff going on there. And it looks really, really cool. So I just want to mention Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion is out right now. The other thing I want to mention is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate is a video game that is coming out on July 17, 2024 for $29.99 US. So I don't know. I think I knew this was coming out. I think the release date just got announced was the new information here, but I didn't know what to expect from this game, so I looked up a little bit on it and want to tell you about it. So they're telling us they're going to unleash the turtles in a roguelike quest to rescue Splinter from the Foot Clan. When Splinter is kidnapped by Shredder, mysterious portals simultaneously appear across New York City, with April and Metalhead analyzing recovered artifacts for clues. The turtles battle to recover their father from the clutches of the Foot Clan. However, as the gang gets even closer to Splinter's otherworldly location, an even greater threat lingers in the shadows. In this game, in Splintered Fate, brace yourself for fast-paced roguelike action where no 2 runs are the same. With randomized power-ups, room layouts, and boss modifiers, the excitement never ends. Take control of all 4 turtles, each wielding unique powers, and team up with 4 friends for bodacious co-op gameplay. Explore iconic New York City locations, upgrade your turtle powers, and prepare to face off against formidable enemies. So Splintered Fate, I'm a turtle fan. The games are pretty fun. I think the thing that turns me off here is the roguelike, and that is not something I thought I would be saying, but I think that's my general feeling on video games at the moment. And I think the roguelikes, everything's doing a roguelike these days, and I've been a fan of roguelikes for a long time, so it's not a new thing to me, but I guess it's a cool formula or a cool flip on some of these franchises. But I also think with too many roguelikes, it makes you want just a more focused game, something that is more predetermined, more pre-developed. It's not randomized. You might want some actual predetermined content to go through, or a few branching paths, open world. But the roguelike is, you're most likely doing a run, you're most likely dying, and then you're upgrading yourself to make yourself stronger for the next run. That is the general roguelike rule. So could be fun with this turtle. I mean, it could be fun with any franchise really, and this one has co-op, so I think that's a good bonus. But just wanted to tell you that this is coming out July 17th, 2024. I don't know after reading more about it if it's a game that I'd immediately want to jump on, but it seems like it's going to be fun, and if it fits your situation for gaming, or if you're a big co-op gamer or something like that, it seems like it's going to be a great release for that. And only $29.99 USD, so it's nice to get a non-full price release in your rotation sometimes. But the main thing we're here to talk about today in the midsection of the show is the Nintendo Direct that took place on June 18th, 2024. So some of the greatest times of the year to get all this information. We had the Summer Game Fest, we had the Xbox Showcase, we had a Sony State of Play at some point, I think it was called, or a Sony Direct. We had all this information recently, so to pretty much end off the new age E3, where you basically just get video game information over the summer, is the Nintendo Direct that took place on the 18th. So a really great show, 43 minutes in length, 43 minutes and 54 seconds, if you want to be exact. It had around 5 million views already last Thursday when I checked. I watched MinMax talk over this, so if you want to watch someone talk over the actual video and get some immediate feedback and some information, MinMax is a great outlet for that, or you can just watch the base video on the Nintendo channel. So with these shows, I always like to say that you should go watch them for yourself, because I'm not going to talk about all the games. I'm just going to tell you about the ones that I think are most interesting, or have the highest chance of being the most interesting to the most people. So that is kind of the way I look at these. But I enjoy watching these shows. I tell you that you should go watch them. It's really, really fun. Go watch one of those talkovers. It kind of helps the atmosphere of watching it, and can add some excitement to it. And you might see a game on there that I don't talk about that you really are excited for. So please go check it out. They probably try to give a lot of announcements to cover all bases. So I'm just giving you a little subset here, but I'm trying to bring the heavy hitters. So the ones I want to tell you about here on this show. And I just want to say, first off, this was a great show. I think it's up there for one of the best shows of the year. People were arguing it's one of the better Nintendo shows of all time. I don't know if that is necessarily true, but I think it's in a great conversation. I think they executed their plan pretty amazingly, and I'm going to tell you about all the games from it. So I think it's all sounding really, really positive, and I'm pretty excited. And there's definitely a couple games here that I want to purchase on day one. So the first one of those is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. This was the surprise announcement of the show. I think, there's multiple, but this is probably the biggest, most exciting thing that came out of the show. We're getting a new top-down Zelda game in the Link's Awakening style, but it's a brand new game in the franchise, and will be released in short time. It'll be released on September 26, 2024. And so pretty awesome. And this will feature Princess Zelda as the main character. So that's something Zelda fans have been asking for an eternity. And the main character, Link, and other people from Hyrule have gone missing after strange rifts have started appearing. So even Link has gone missing this time. And as Link is getting pulled through a portal, his last saving effort to rescue Zelda as he shoots an arrow, it cracks open the thing that's entrapping her, and she is freed. So then it is Zelda who's on the way, who's got to be the hero of this legend. So just a really, really cool setup. I think a very cool switcheroo, you might call it. I think it's cool they're doing the top-down style. And then let's see what else they're going to tell us about this. So Zelda works with a mysterious fairy named Tri. So you always love a cool sidekick in a Zelda game, to use the power of the Tri Rod to create echoes. So imitations of things found in the environment. This means you can make bridges out of old beds and use water blocks to reach new heights and more. So this is introducing some powers like from Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, where you can manipulate the world. This is a little bit of like Mario Odyssey, throwing your hat on something and you're obtaining those powers. A little bit like Kirby, sucking somebody in and then taking those powers. It's a little bit like that, but with Zelda and a wand. So you're going to be able to build things to access different areas on the map. And it just, the art style of Link's Awakening, the remake, is really, really amazing. And I think it looks really great in this game. They kind of already flashed to a pan of a screen where Zelda is overlooking like the Hyrule, and it kind of harkens back to Breath of the Wild, like a shot from that. So I think it's a pretty cool mishmash of the two styles. And I think they're adding some of the new age, really, really creative stuff. And like the Ultra Hand was so creative, and the being able to go up through any platform, go up through any platform, all the cool powers. And they're adding that to this top-down approach. And I think it's a really, really cool mishmash. I think it's just a great job. It's a new franchise, or it's a new game in the franchise. It's not a remake. I think it's just a really, really cool announcement by Nintendo, and I think it's really, really smart. And we didn't really have any inclination of this happening before the show, so just A+ effort for having a plan like this with one of their best franchises. And I guess that's the kind of franchise that you put your best plan behind. But they really did execute this well. I think I really only heard positive feedback from this game, and I'm excited to play it. Zelda's a franchise. I play every one of them. I've never beaten a Zelda game. That's going to be something like a blue whale in this podcast, where I'm going to have to beat one at some point. And I'm down to buy these. These sell me every time. I love what's going on with these games. This one's going to be a little more puzzle heavy, I guess, which is not up my alley necessarily, but this one's also going to have multiple ways to complete things. And I think that might lend well to my style of liking to play these games, of not having to figure out one really hard puzzle. I think there's going to be multiple ways to tackle these. So I think that's going to be a little more accessible. And some of the things I like from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I like those games a whole lot, it's going to be adding some of those elements into the mix. So I think that's actually going to be really, really great for me personally. And I think a lot of people are going to love this game. The art style looks cool. The riffs are awesome. Zelda's a cool character as always. And just please go check out this portion of the announcement. I mean, for top-down Zelda fans, some Zelda fans are Link's Awakening is the best one, or Link to the Past. So you're getting a top-down approach with some of the new modern mechanics added into it that are really, really creative and unique and cool. So I mean, what an excellent announcement. And so go Nintendo, really, really excited for this. And along with this, they have also announced a limited edition gold-colored Nintendo Switch Lite with the Hylian crest. And this will arrive alongside the game. I'm sure it won't come with the game, but it's a really amazing looking console. The Nintendo Switch Lites normally run for $199.99 US dollars. So I'm wondering if this will be the same price, or if they're going to bump up the price a little bit. My thoughts on this is that it will be the $199, but you're not going to see it around a whole lot. These are going to be snatched up pretty quickly, and I think they'll be sold for more money down the road. I think this is a really, really cool looking console, and I think it's going to be something that collectors are really, really going to be eyeing. So, go check that out. I haven't seen pre-orders come up for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom or the new console yet, but I've been looking for those, and seems like they have some pages, but it just kind of pages on some sites, but it just says coming soon. So I'm looking out for some information on that as well. But I guess both of those items are coming out on September 26, 2024. So The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, looking so cool. All right, the next game they talked about, that I think this was the finale of the show. They closed with this, and that is Metroid Prime 4. And it has got a surname, it's got a title to it, and it's called Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So this was the official name update and reveal, and they also showed off gameplay and announced a 2025 release window. So this was first announced back in Nintendo's E3 2017 presentation, so that was the year that the Nintendo Switch came out, and it's been a long, long wait, and I think they switched developers at some point, and this has been the long-awaited game and long-awaited information that the world's been clamoring for. So Metroid is a franchise that I think is really cool. I never completed a game. I've played a few of them, and I am excited for this, though. I own Metroid Dread. I own Metroid Prime Remastered, so my plan a little bit, as I was alluding to in the first section, is to possibly play Metroid Prime Remastered is what I'm thinking. So then I could go into Metroid Prime 4, having a little bit of knowledge how the game works. I've heard it looks very similar to what Metroid Prime Remastered is doing. So I think, and people are saying that in a positive way, because Metroid is so unique of a video game. And I have Metroid Prime Remastered. I took it off the shelf. It's sitting there in front of my console, eyeing me in the face, ready to play it. But I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. But I think I'm going to add a plan on my video game list of things to play that I want to get together at some point. I was telling you about in the first section, and I think that there's going to be a Metroid leg to that list of video game completions or accomplishments that I'm looking forward. So Metroid Prime 4 coming out next year is what they say. No indication on a release window. It's heavily rumored that the new Switch successor will come out next year sometime, and then we have the whole argument of, are the games going to be enhanced for the new system? Are you going to have to buy a whole new copy? Is there going to be an upgrade path? Are the games going to be backwards compatible and things like that? But I guess we're going to get that answer before the end of Nintendo's fiscal year, which I think is March or April or something like that. And that is the only thing they really told us about that. But They got games coming either way. They're still telling us about some games coming out, so that's exciting even if you own a Switch. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that is the name, and it is coming out in 2025 is what they told us. Very exciting stuff there. And they closed the show with that, and that was a pretty big banger to close the show with. And they opened the show with a very exciting announcement, which was a really great surprise as well, and something I heard someone say, hey, they made a great plan around their biggest IP, and I think, just smart, and they keep doing this, and they keep putting out quality products, so I don't think we can really complain too much. And they announced Mario and Luigi Brothership, and this was announced with a release date of November 7th, 2024, so this is going to be, I guess, their big holiday game. It has a unique and colorful art style. It's an island-hopping adventure on the part ship, part island called Ship-Shape Island. Mario and Luigi journey across Concordia, visiting rainforest, cities, and more, alongside running into Peach, Bowser, and other Mushroom Kingdom favorites. So the Mario RPG train has been really, really hot. We got the Super Mario RPG remake. We got the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake. We had Paper Mario Origami King not too long ago. And we're going back to the Mario and Luigi series, which has mainly been a handheld series that was on the 3DS, which I played maybe 20 hours of one of those and really, really enjoyed it back in the day. And this is, a new iteration of that franchise coming back. So it is a whole new studio that's developing this game, because the studio from Mario and Luigi prior is no longer existing. But Nintendo has, I don't know if they fully confirmed, but they have, I think it actually has been that. They haven't said who or what, but they've said some people from that studio are working at the new studio that is developing this game. Nintendo likes to be a little bit hush-hush with their developers currently for some reason on some of these games, and everybody keeps telling you, oh yeah, you got to wait till the credits to see who developed the game, but and that is sometimes the case, and I think maybe Nintendo's trying to change that narrative, because you saw some, I guess, I don't know if it's true, but you saw some lines saying that they confirmed that some of the people had moved over. So, that's just positive, because you would hope they would bring some of that pedigree over to this new franchise, or this new game in the series. But that's Mario and Luigi Brothership, November 7th, 2024. I think all three of these games are going to be immediate purchases for me from the show, and I think those are the three. I have some other ones in here I'll be interested in to see the reception or might want to buy, but those are the three that I think Nintendo will be getting my hard-earned dollars on day one for these games. So that was The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Mario and Luigi Brothership. So I have a few more games I want to tell you about from the Nintendo Switch Direct, and those are starting with Luigi's Mansion 2 High Definition. So just want to remind you here, they showed a trailer of this in here, and they showed off some spooky and fun gameplay, and this releases on June 27, 2024. So I just want to mention that game's out in a couple days. This is the second game in the Luigi's Mansion trilogy. It's been remastered. I've heard a lot of people say this is the weakest entry, so maybe have some caution there, but I think it's cool to have the option. Hopefully it has some nice upgrades to it, and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD releases on June 27, 2024. All right, another game that got announced here that was a surprise and a nice one was Super Mario Party Jamboree. I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with Mario Party. I think there's just been so many of them over the years. I'm not generally a board game fan, but I've definitely had some fun playing some Mario Parties over the course of my life, and would like to have some more fun with Mario Parties as my life goes on. So Jamboree is a brand new Mario Party game. It releases on 10/17. That's Brick Squad Day, 10/17/2024. And this takes players to an enormous island resort and features 5 new game boards, 2 boards from previous games, over 100 mini games, a Coop-athlon mode that supports over 20 players, and more. It's all looking very cool. Hopefully a few of my friends will want to buy this, and we can play some Super Mario Party Jamboree at some point. And this would be an immediate purchase for me in that scenario, or it might just be one I want to add to my collection, because it can be something really, really cool to have. So another great announcement from the show. Nintendo really giving the people and myself what we want. So really, really, really cool. All right, so they're giving us another HD game. We mentioned Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Now they're giving us Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. So this is a game that originated on the Super Nintendo. This is a game that I have a lot of nostalgia for and played a whole lot of as a young person. And this new HD version has a release date of January 16th, 2025. So Nintendo's giving us a plan for some releases here. They're really, spacing some things out, giving us some HD remasters, which I guess could be some time filler between the two systems. But, hey, it's their goal is always to appease some old fans and get some new fans. So that's what they're doing here again with this. And it comes complete with 2-player local co-op, the 80 levels from the original Wii version, the additional stages from the 3DS version, and more. So at least they're adding all the content into this one. And players will once again be able to take the fight to the Taki tribe to win back Donkey Kong's previous banana horde. So this game is fun. The music is wonderful. I have a ton of nostalgia for this. I think the game is pretty difficult at some sections. I probably haven't given this game a good go since being a young person. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be interested to buy this. And, Donkey Kong, I do love some Donkey Kong. And the timing on this is pretty good for me. But, they've had the versions of this on the Wii and on the 3DS. So we've had no shortage of playing Donkey Kong Country. But that's not the worst thing in the world. So Donkey Kong Country HD returns. It's a 2025 release, but we have the date January 16th, 2025. All right, so let's talk about some more games from the Nintendo Direct that took place. This is another one. The last two I'm on the fence about, but I would love to be able to be excited to purchase these, and I can see myself getting there. The first one is Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. So they are starting off, I think this has been long speculated, and they are tackling this with releasing Dragon Quest III first. So Dragon Quest III HD 2D will be released on November 14th, 2024. And then the Dragon Quest 1 through 2 HD 2D collection, I guess you could call it, will follow in 2025. So Dragon Quest III Remake coming out this year, November 14th, 2024. And then we're going to get the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD collection sometime in 2025. Dragon Quest III, according to them, is the chronological beginning of the Erdtree trilogy storyline. So embark on a quest to save the world from the dark forces of the evil archfiend Baramos. So I think most times you would want to play the game in chronological order of time. So you'd want to play the earliest release. I don't know. That's the whole Star Wars argument of how you watch them. But the Dragon Quest developers here are saying that they want you to play the third game first and then get into the first and second. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. I think it's interesting to hear them tell you that way and tell you straight up, hey, we want you to play the story in the correct order, and they're switching up kind of what they did. They developed it along the way. It was a prequel of some sorts or whatever it may be. So I don't know too much about the Dragon Quest series besides it's a legendary franchise, and maybe this will be a great entry for me to get in and try it out since it's the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show. So definitely interested. I like the 3D, 2D style is really cool, so definitely on my radar, the Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake that comes out November 14th, 2024. All right, the last thing I want to there's two more things to tell you about from the show that I want to highlight, and like I said before, please go watch it for yourself because there's more announcements than what I'm telling you about. But the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics game has been announced. It brings X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and The Punisher under one roof. So a really cool fighting game collection. I have a lot of nostalgia and love for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was one of the, I guess, kind of first fighting games I really got into around like my mid video gaming life. So after I played some Mortal Kombat as a young person. I got into Street Fighter 4 when that came out. And I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was either right after that or right before the Street Fighter, where it was a game that I was really, really enjoying. I thought was super cool. I loved the character list and was really, really fun to play, and kind of better than a technical fighter. Is a little more mashy, a little more, I guess they're all arcadey, but just a little more accessible, I'd say, and a little more fun, and a lot more going on around the screen. Just cool stuff, multiple characters, really, really fun. So this Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, very, very long name, will be released later in 2024. So no official date, but it includes original songs from the arcade releases, development docs, and never before seen art. So a pretty cool fighting collection. I don't know if I'm into fighting games these days. I bought Tekken 8 this year and haven't played it. And the last one I've really been into is Street Fighter 4. I tried with Mortal Kombat 11, got into that some. I played a good bit of Mortal Kombat 11, but I never got into the new Mortal Kombat 1 that was awesome. I never really got into Street Fighter 6 or 5, so I don't know, it might just be a little bit of a downturn for my fighting, for my love for fighting games, but you never know, it could go back up. There's ebbs and flows to these video game moods for me for sure, and I'm sure for all of you as well. But this is a really cool looking collection. The Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Say it one more time just for the hell of it. All right, so last thing I want to tell you about from the Nintendo Direct that took place were some Nintendo Switch Online announcements. All the games below I'm going to talk about, we're heading to Nintendo Switch Online later that day, so they are available now if you're listening in real time. And those are The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and The Legend of Zelda: Four Swords. So those are from the Game Boy Advance. So those are on the Game Boy Advance tier of Nintendo Switch Online, which I believe is the higher tier. They're also adding Metroid Zero Mission, which is under the Game Boy Advance tier, and I think that's the higher tier, so take note of that. And then they're also adding, these are two N64 games, which are part of the higher tier, I believe, and those are Perfect Dark, which will now have online multiplayer. It's a pretty great timing on that with the announcement of the new Perfect Dark that's coming out that we learned through the Xbox Showcase. I think it's slated to come out in 2025, I believe. No official date there, but it's cool that it's going to be on the Nintendo Switch and it's going to have online multiplayer, so that's Perfect Dark. And they're also going to have Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, which everyone talks about how bad of a game that is, but there was definitely a moment when that game came out that people were thinking it was cool. And this was something maybe I rented once back in the day, a Blockbuster or something like that. And I think it was maybe too hard for me. I'm not the most inclined to push myself towards a really hard game. But I remember everyone, myself included, thinking this game was cool. The box art was awesome. Some of the visuals from it were cool. First-person shooting was not new, but kind of a newish phenomenon a little bit, or hitting a higher apex than it had before and about to hit a huge threshold. So just a cool moment in history, and it's cool that it's being put on here and people will get to try it out. But I've been hearing some podcasts and stuff say to have caution going back to Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, that the gameplay and stuff like that's really not holding up too much. But those are all the announcements I want to tell you about from the Nintendo Direct that took place most recently, and I think it was a wonderful show. I think if you come out of a show with definite purchases, I think if you even have one of those, it's pretty decent. And this one, I would say I have 3 of them, which would be The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Mario and Luigi Brothership. I know all 3 of those I'm going to be looking to purchase on release day if I am able to, and I would really like to. And then other games that I would be 50-50 on, or actually these I'd be a little more, probably 75% on wanting to purchase, would be Super Mario Party Jamboree, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. I think those are all games that I might be interested in and could see myself purchasing. And then I'm interested in all these games talked about. The Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. I don't think I'm playing fighting games, but this could be a cool one to buy and just leave in the wrap and have as like a collector kind of thing. It'd be really cool. Not like a video game collector, but I have bought a few games recently and just kept them in the wrap instead of opening them and playing them for a bit and then not going back to them. At least I have an item that's wrapped up and something that looks cool, and I have tons of video games to play, and I'm going to keep buying more video games. So it's just something I've kind of added into my video game repertoire. And I don't know if how for farther along it'll go, but it's just been a fun thing and something to think about. So let's see, because I do love some video games. But, a lot of great games from the show. The other one I talked about was Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I don't know if I'll purchase this, but I have Luigi's Mansion 3, and that's something that I do want to complete at some point. And I always think around October I'm going to boot up the Luigi's Mansion 3 and try to finish it this time. So, maybe that'll be a goal for this year too. I like to talk about trying to make some goals here for video gaming, and that is a good one to add up in the atmosphere to think about. So that was the Nintendo Direct, and I also told you about the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion out now. And we talked about the TMNT Splintered Fate, got a release date July 17, 2024. And then I told you all about the Nintendo Direct. So we talked about Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Mario and Luigi Brothership, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Donkey Kong Country's HD, or Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, and Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, and those NSO online announcements. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Four Swords, Metroid Zero Mission, Perfect Dark, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter, available right now on Nintendo Switch Online, so go play those if you are inclined to do so. And that's going to wrap up the midsection of this show. For all the best video game information you didn't need to know. I'm going to stop rhyming at some point, but that is fun to do. And we're going to come back for the final section of the show after this music. So that's all the video game news for this week. And I'll have more for you next week for sure. But we're going to get into the miscellaneous talk section after this music. And I'm just going to give you a quick update on the worldwide world of sports and what's going on with all the teams I love and follow. So you don't want to miss it. So come back right after this music. Welcome back to the final section of the best show you'll ever know, Dep Lewis Show, episode 82. This is the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So today I just want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you about what's going on with my favorite teams. So the Carolina Panthers, it's the off season. Nothing too much going on with those guys. I just did a quick check on the news, and it's talking about the Panthers could get a new stadium, possibly. So I don't know if it's talking about I guess that's talking about the Charlotte FC team, and the Panthers could get a new stadium in 2046. So That's a little way off, a little ways off, but hey, they're trying to upgrade the current stadium, and I guess they got plans to get a whole new stadium at some point. So hopefully the Panthers will improve so they can be worthy of a new stadium, but they're probably worthy already. But they've been on a good losing streak here. So let's see. And the other thing I saw on Cat Crave here, a headline: Carolina Panthers veteran issues warning to teammates over summer break. So hopefully he's just telling them to not get in any trouble and work hard. Who knows? Or watch out for the heat. It's very hot down here in the South. So no, I don't really have too many Panthers news. And then for other teams I follow the Charlotte Hornets now. They're not my favorite basketball team, but I live in North Carolina. I'm able to go to some games, so they're definitely on my radar. And they have the 6th pick in the upcoming draft. And the upcoming NBA draft will take place on Wednesday, June 26th. So that is in the upcoming week. So that's some exciting stuff, at least. The NBA Finals just completed with the Celtics winning the championship versus the Mavs. So congrats to the Celtics. And let's see. And so the draft is coming up this week, Wednesday, June 26th for the NBA. Hornets have the 6th pick. Then my favorite team in the NBA world is the Atlanta Hawks, and they have the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft. So the Hawks have we're at the standstill as Hawks fans of, are they going to trade DeJounte Murray or Trae Young? And then what are they going to do with the first pick? And I am looking at the Hawks news here. Trae Young trade rumors. Let's see. Hawks Trae Young makes cryptic post, and they were saying DeJounte was making cryptic post. He was doing the eyeball emojis, and 2 years ago when he was about to leave the Spurs, he was doing the eyeball emojis again, and he's doing them again. Sports Illustrated, new blockbuster 3-team trade proposal sends Zach LaVine plus DeJounte, I guess, to the Lakers. 3-team proposal sees Hawks at $132 million trio. So who would that trio be? Hawks receive Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and Rui Hachimura. Sorry for the music, and 2 picks. So I don't know about all that. Whatever. I want the Hawks to make a decision, and I just have to live with what the decision is going to be because that's all I can do. But I want them to make a decision either way and stick with it. All right, my favorite team in the universe is the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves need to step it up. But let's see. Since last week, I recorded on Saturday last week, so there was an afternoon Saturday game, and the Braves won 9-2 against the Tampa Bay Rays, and then the Braves lost Sunday to the Rays 6-8. So that was how the week wrapped up last week. And then the Braves have been on to the Tigers and the Yankees this week. So the Braves handled their business against the Tigers, which was very nice. They swept the Tigers Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then they beat the Yankees Friday night 8-1, and then lost Saturday last night 3-8. So they have pretty much had 2 similar games on each side for the Braves versus the Yankees. And today will be the rubber match at 1:35. And baseball is actually about to kick off in about 15 minutes. In real time of recording this, we have an 11:35 a.m. game today on the East Coast, with the Phillies playing, and Phillies and Diamondbacks. And then the Braves have the 11:30 game next week. So something to note there for baseball fans, because that is an early start. You're usually looking around 1 o'clock on Sunday, but for having some of these 11:35 a.m. games sneak in, and that is cool with me because I love having baseball all day long. And for the Braves, let's see here. So right now with the Braves, before they play the Yankees today, they're 7 back in the division, which I haven't really been checking that, so I'm not excited about that stat. I knew it wasn't good, but I didn't know we were down 7, and we need to make up some ground here. And the Phillies are doing really, really good out there, so pretty tough. And I think the Braves, everyone knows the Braves need to step it up. We've had a lot of injuries. Lineups have been trying to piece together some lineups. I think, I was walking earlier thinking about the Braves, and they have done. I don't know who they have to trade to acquire new assets. I'm thinking, hey, they need to have some additions here to the roster. With all these injuries going on, they really need to maybe put some juice into the roster. And I'm thinking, I don't know who they have to give up. And my only other thought is they could possibly get their pocketbooks out. So if somebody's, last year of their deal, and they're really, really good, and the current team doesn't know if they're going to sign them, maybe those are the people that the Braves go and spend some money. So the Braves are notorious for really not spending money. They've given out some, very nice deals, but they're notorious for not, making the big, huge splash deal. They were out on Ohtani. They've been out on some other big, giant free agents just from the get-go. And this might be the time to get the pocketbooks out, the wallets out, and spend some cash and bring some new life into this team. We've lost, one of the best players in baseball, and who has a huge gravitational pull, Ronald Acuna Jr. We've lost Spencer Strider, one of the best pitchers in baseball. We've lost a handful of others. We've had other guys battling injuries and coming back. It's been rough. So I don't know. you don't want to tell them to go spend like crazy, but I think those are the opportunities you need to be looking for out there. And that would be my opinion. That's just something I was thinking about earlier on how to improve, because I was basically thinking the Braves do need to improve the roster, and I was trying to think how you get there. And I think you got to take the gamble there on that side. You take the gamble when you trade prospects and that they can turn out to be good and you have them on the cheap right now. But you might want to take the gamble where you go spend some cash. And these teams got cash, so, I don't think you need to feel too bad for them. Go spend some of it is what I want to tell the Braves to do. And hopefully the current Braves will just get it together, which I know they have the capability of doing. We have many all-star, elite level talents on this squad, and hopefully they're going to start showcasing that a little more and, make up some ground here in the division race with the Phillies, the stinking Phillies. So the Braves are 8th overall in baseball right now, of where they stand before this game Sunday against the Yankees. And next week the Braves are at the Cardinals Monday through Wednesday, at the White Sox Thursday, which I'm guessing is a makeup game. I think it's a 4-hour drive. I think it was 297 miles. I was looking up how far St. Louis was from Chicago, so it seems like they scheduled it out pretty well to fit that makeup in. That they're in St. Louis, they got to go to that one game up there in Chicago, and then they're back to Atlanta for the weekend versus the Pirates Friday through Sunday. So that is the Braves playing for next week, and then that Sunday game versus the Pirates starts at 11:35 a.m. next week. So most likely I'll be recording during the show, or during that game, or right before it, or after it, or something like that. So that's a good thing for me to point out, just for podcasting's sake. Maybe I need to podcast around it, because I love watching my Braves, and a morning Braves game with some coffee and breakfast sounds pretty epic. So that's what's going on with the Braves, and that's what's going on with all of my favorite teams. So I like to keep you updated with that here in the miscellaneous talk section. I always say I can talk about whatever I want to, and I'm realizing recently it's just mainly been sports, but I do like to open it up for other topics from time to time. But I'm a pretty big sports fan, just like I am a fan of video games, so it's pretty natural to come here and talk about my teams, and it's really fun too. And it's something, along with video games, one of the things I keep up with most. So, just thank you for listening to my sports talk. I like to section off the non-video game talk here for the end of the show. And even if you're not a sports fan, maybe you will enjoy just listening to my ups and downs of my fandom. I like a lot of teams right now that aren't very good, so that's something you can enjoy, listening to some of my despair and some of my hope and things like that. But I'm a pretty positive sports fan overall, and it's something I get a lot of enjoyment out of. So hopefully you get some enjoyment out of listening to me talk about them. And that's what I'm just getting at here. So just thank you for being a listener. Thank you for listening to this miscellaneous talk section. And that's going to wrap up the entire Dep Lewis Show, episode 82 for today. So just thank you for being a listener. I want to reiterate some promotional stuff from the beginning that really helps me out, if you don't mind doing so. Listening to the show is, a gift enough from you. But if you'd like to follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere, like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of this show, Dep Lewis Show, available anywhere you can find a podcast. So places like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, Patreon, and more. So find the perfect place to listen for you. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I've talked about on the show, and I've tried to do it in the show, is setting up a little bit of a streaming schedule, and I think it's something I need to work towards. I think it's a good way to show off some games and hopefully get some people hyped to listen to the show. I like to keep this podcast the main, like the cliche phrase, keep the main thing. So that's doing this podcast, and I enjoy that the most. But I do need to get on there on stream sometimes and show off some video games. I am playing some different things. Maybe you want to see my Stardew Valley farm. So that's something I need to put in my mind and put in your mind out there in the world too. And then patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow. And I promise to tell you more about that at the end. So that's what I'm about to do. It's $1 a month right now for the ground floor tier for the first 100 patrons. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. This is a podcast without a plan and has a freestyle schedule. But it's a great way to get additional content and support the show. After the first 100 patrons, the regular price for this tier will begin. Ground floor tier pricing will never change and will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. So thank you for any support. The Patreon right now, besides the little bit of additional content, is basically a tip jar. It's just a thank you for supporting the Dep Lewis Show. It's the only platform I'm able to receive funds through at the moment. So if you'd like to support the show more so than listening and throwing your money to support the show, please go to patreon.com/DepLewisShow. That's the place where I'm asking for that, and hopefully I'll have more means or platforms or ability to source some funds and provide content to the world out here. That's the whole plan. But for now, the Dep Lewis Show is the main thing. It's for free every week, and that is what I'm here to do. That's the main thing. And that's the thing I enjoy doing, and what I'll be back here next week to do. So just thank you for listening. Hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope you watch some sports. I don't know why I leading with that, but we were just talking sports. But I hope you play some games. Hope you watch some sports. I hope you have some time off of work. Hope you get to see a friend. I hope you get to see a cool dog. Hope you get a raise. I hope something great happens to you out there in the world. And I hope you come back and listen to the Dep Lewis Show again next week, because that's where I'll be. And just thank you for being a listener. Thank you for being you. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Dep Lewis Show. See you next time.